financial infidelity. Do you think that's far bigger issue than actual infidelity?
They say it feels like my spouse cheated on me. You don't get to your money goals as fast, but more importantly,
That's different.
when you avoid a subject to avoid fighting, that's the exact subject that you need to be digging into. This is like the one area that I talk about on social media that I get the most hate when I talk about.
She's a financial expert, best-selling author, and daughter of one of today's most influential voices in money. But despite the pressure of legacy, Rachel Cruze has built a platform helping people take control and create a life they love.
How old were you when you first actually stepped on a stage?
I was 15, and I had an 8-minute thing about how it's hard to be Dave Ramsey's daughter.
What was hard about growing up in his shadow? Can you recall the first moment in your life where you realized, I like the attention, people looking at me, or I want to be in front of people? Because you and I are freaks. We know that most of society would rather die than give a public speech. We know this.
Totally, yeah.
So there are a few people who at some point realize, I kind of want to be in front of people. Do you remember how young you might have been? It doesn't have to be the exact day or age.
Sure, no. I can remember as a little girl wanting to perform, like even within the family. So I remember when Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding, that whole ice skating era.
Yes,
like
big drama.
Mom has like video, old school, home video of me roller skating in our living room on carpet. But I'm making the family sit and watch me.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so that spirit.
Did you make them judge you?
Yeah.
Were there scores?
I should have. I expect all 10s.
Right.
I expect all 10s.
Right.
So I think that initially, I think is part of my DNA is that, for whatever that is, I enjoy it. But from a professional standpoint, yes, I vividly remember we would travel with Dad to his events, and we had to work the back book tables. We had to wear khaki pants. Ken, you made us wear khaki pants.
I appreciate that. I love a good
you
pair
would
of
actually
khakis.
fit it right in, yeah.
Yeah.
And like collared shirts that said Financial Peace University, and we had to tuck in our shirts. I mean, we had like little uniforms as middle schoolers. And I remember a guy on the team at the time said to me, because I would go in and watch Dad. I was always very intrigued and fascinated by like watching him on stage. So I'd always sit in the back where Denise and Daniel, my brother and sister, would just, who knows what they would do, but I would want to go and watch. And I remember he said to me, he kind of like whispered, he was like, you could do that. You could do that. And I was in 8th grade. And I was like, no, because it was thousands of people. I thought, no, I never did like school plays or anything like that. But that was a moment, I remember someone speaking that over me, just saying, I can see you. You could do that. You could do that. And then, I guess probably a year or two later is kind of when I started actually traveling and started speaking. And
how old were you when you first actually stepped on a stage?
I was 15 in Spokane, Washington. I think it was 4,000 people, and I had an 8-minute thing about how it's hard to be Dave Ramsey's daughter, which led into, it was like a top 10, like a David Letterman kind of thing.
Right.
And then I would go into the kids' products and talk about, as Ramsey kids, here's what we do. Here's what we do when it comes to money, and here's what's helped. And we have stuff for you if you want to start teaching your kids. So that was the idea. But I had to practice multiple times in front of the family. And then Dad actually made me come to the office because we do a devotional every Wednesday with the whole company, and we still do that to this day. And at the time, it was probably 300 people. And I had to do it in front of them before I got out on stage. Because he was like, you got to get a rep in before you, go out in front of everyone.
Right.
And kid, I remember like freezing in the middle of it. I forgot because I had memorized, which as we've learned as speakers, it's so much better if you don't memorize every line. You need bullet points.
So you froze in the actual talk or the devotion?
The devotional. No,
okay,
yeah, like just with the company. And Dad was on the front row. And I remember he said, push through. Keep pushing through. And I was like,
of course he did.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't a gentle push through, I imagine.
No, it was a push through, push through. And, and I kept going. I just kept going.
Right.
Which actually was probably a gift to mess up and actually learn how to like recover in front of people.
To realize you didn't actually die.
Right, yeah. I was still breathing after, and it was great.
I think you've probably told me this before, but I forgot. And it just is really interesting because it's where I want to go. Why it's hard to be Dave Ramsey's kid. And that was your little 10 reasons around money, wink, wink. But, and I'm blessed to be friends with Dave and Sharon, your parents. They've done a phenomenal job, but they're real people. But I want to talk about the weight and okay, here you are, you're in college, got your own personality, and you're a very big personality. And it begins to hit you that, okay, my dad is like, this is a lot bigger than I thought. I am curious because I don't know what it's like to have a father that casts such a big shadow. To have a father who says things that are not really controversial, but are treated as such.
Sure.
When you take
or
on
at
credit
times,
cards.
maybe.
And, well, that's fair. He has said some controversial things. But what was hard? I know they did a great job with you, and I know you love them. But what was hard about growing up in his shadow? And even now to this day, I'm just curious.
I'd be curious if my brother was here, because I think father to son could feel different than daughter to father. Because mom and dad, I will give them the credit that our real life, kind of what I just mentioned, it was so normal. There wasn't this feeling of this weight that we're carrying. They didn't really give us that verbally until later. And I do remember turning 16 and him telling me that if you get drunk at a party and you hit someone, like, your life, the ripples go real big from the company, that we're a trust brand. So there was some of that language that started probably late high school, some into college, but it's a weird balance. And even for me as a mom now, I don't know the answer of how much weight is too much for a kid to carry, right? Is there an appropriate amount of reality of your life and circumstances that is very real and very true? But also, what is yours to carry and what's not as a kid or a teenager? I don't know. So they gave us some of that. I think Daniel probably felt that even more because of his age gap. He's 4 years younger than me. So even with the brand of Ramsey growing so quickly, more when he was in high school and I was probably more in college. So I didn't probably feel that weight as much. But there was some of that there for sure.
Was that hard for you or not?
To a degree, because I think my natural bent and my unhealthy part of Rachel, I want to image manage and control situations where like everything's good, like we are fine. And not that we have to like be the perfect family. It's not that feeling, but I want people to walk away with an impression that like we're kind and we're loving and all of this, right? And that can sometimes combat with even dad's personality, right? And I had to learn that that's not my way of interpreting or even communicating to the world, where I feel like to a degree I felt that the more bold and direct and polarizing is probably a strong word, but something like that's success. There's a level of success there because you stand for something. It's that kind of language, which I think is true, but also that's not me. My natural bent isn't that. And so even in this job, it took me years, probably 5 or 6 years to get really comfortable with I'm different in the way I view things. Again, sometimes out of an unhealthy place, but also out of a healthy place of what I want people to experience from me. And so there's, something different there. And I think that was more my work that had to say, you can be successful and you can have an impact and it doesn't have to look a certain way from a personality standpoint.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We look for help or support in weird places sometimes. I know that I've probably talked and shared my sorrows with a stranger or two in a public place at times. And, well, it might be fun in that moment to dump on somebody that doesn't get it about all the everyday stuff we're doing. But the reality is that when I need help or you need help with relationships, anxiety, depression, or other clinical issues, our pickleball partner probably doesn't have the right answers or the ability to help us. We need real guidance from a licensed therapist with a strict code of conduct. And that's why I love to recommend reaching out to my friends at BetterHelp. BetterHelp's the largest online therapy provider in the world, which means no matter what you're facing, chances are they've got someone who specializes in exactly that. And because it's totally online, it's easy to fit therapy into your busy schedule. Just answer a few easy questions, nothing intense, and they'll connect you with a licensed therapist who fits your needs. Plus, if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time for no extra cost. But they've been matching people and therapists for over 10 years, and their 4.9 rating shows that they usually get it right the first time. So find the right one with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Ken to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Ken. I think there's so much for this audience that's watching and listening to take from this, because not everybody's parents are nationally known or internationally known brand names. But there is a certain weight that we all have to bear if we have successful parents or unsuccessful parents. Like if our parents were a mess and a disaster.
Yeah.
And to this end, I have always been impressed. I've known you a long time, and I've worked side by side with you. I've traveled with you. We've been on the air together. You get to know somebody. And I have always been impressed with the fact that you are very comfortable in your skin. What would you say to people that are listening that are maybe dealing with a ghost, maybe something severe, or it may just be the pressures, the expectations of a parent? What would you say to them to get to a place where they can be comfortable in their own skin?
I think self-awareness is so huge. And I think part of that, I mentioned the ego. I read a book, and it was all about, it was the ego. It was all about the ego.
Yeah.
And I resonated with it so much because there kind of is this false self that's created in your job title, your performance, the inner critic in your own head, what parents speak over you, like good and bad, right? So there's positive and negative, but you create this self that you present to the world. And learning to actually go into my true self and what am I, and this takes work for me to actually stop and pause and actually have a thought of like, okay, what am I feeling right now? What am I thinking? What am I reacting to? Why did that kind of make me mad? Do I feel a little insecure right now? I'm a little embarrassed. Like just understanding what's really going on within me, and then learning that like it all belongs. Where those things would used to rise up in me, Ken and I would shame talk it and be like, oh, Rachel, stop it. That's so stupid. Don't get your feelings hurt there. Like, Rachel, come on. I would talk myself out of it so much, out of what I was really thinking. To go into this like performative, fun, happy, loving, self that, is my personality. And in some ways it's great.
Sure.
But to understand that like those parts of me, when those rise up, accept them. Like I don't have to push them away. And I think even as a believer, Ken, I would look at it and be like, oh, that's sinful. So I don't want to think like, don't do that. Don't feel that. Like, I would even spiritualize it sometimes.
Right.
Where I have learned the opposite, where I'm like, no, like actually embrace it and sit with it. And that's uncomfortable.
Very hard.
That's very hard.
Yeah.
And so I think it's that practice, all of that. And so again, these are just terms or books that I'll read and I'll pick up things, or therapy. I did like really intense therapy 2 years ago, almost every week for almost a year, and unpacked a lot. And I think it's just that. And people say like do the work. It's kind of an annoying saying because I feel like people say it a lot. But there's something there because I do think there's something bigger in all of us.
Yeah.
But we don't give the space, the margin, or the time or the energy to it because we're packed. Our schedules are packed. Our lives are packed, So to even think to carve out energy to even have silence feels impossible, right? Let alone drive 20 minutes to a therapist's office and spend an hour. You know what I mean? Like all of it. But I have learned to prioritize those things in my routine and in my thought process. And there's something grounding about it. Like I feel more grounded than I ever have in my whole life in this season. And then on the other end, which I'm so thankful for, because I know that's not everyone's story, is my husband's done the exact same work. He actually kind of went ahead of me. He was probably 6-9 months ahead with his own work, with all of this. So both of us, I'm like, there's just something there.
How has that changed your interaction in marriage?
We were very, very codependent, Winston and I were. And I would never have said that or thought that because I'm like, I'm a strong, independent, working woman. Like, no, I'm not codependent. That's like such a weak way of looking at things.
Tell us what that looked like. Maybe just you.
So it was an unhealthy level of caretaking. So making sure that he's okay. So if I would have to travel or something, it's like, okay. And I would feel a little nervous to be like, hey, here's the schedule. Here's what it is. This leaves you, home 2 nights with the kids. I'm so apologetic. Let me figure out how to do things. And then in his story, which he would tell you if he was sitting here, it's a level, he was feeling levels of rejection of she doesn't want to be home. And she doesn't want this. And like he was having, and again, a lot of this was like 3 layers deep. It wasn't top of mind. But as we started digging in, it was like, That's what was happening. So then he wanted to make sure, no, I want Rachel to want to come back. So then I'm going to caretake her in it. And it was just like this messy cycle that it was our dance, is what therapists say. It was our dance. We're just gonna caretake, and we do it in the name of selflessness and service.
Right.
But it's coming out of such an unhealthy place. And so the best word picture I had, which I was like, this is it. Someone we were talking to, because we went to a therapist together, and then we each have our own individual ones. He said, there's 2 trees. And what happens is the root systems end up entangling, and then it ends up killing the tree. And so to have 2 healthy individual root systems, 2 trees, and then at the top, they're grafted together. Because that grafting is coming from a healthy, strong foundation. It's not coming out of this, like, I need you in this way. And there was a lot of that we had, that, he needed me in ways, I needed him in ways that wasn't it wasn't coming out of a need of health, and enjoyment and desire. It was this, like, kind of that, like, you're going to fix me, so I need you to fulfill this place in me. And that gets messy real quick. And that was for 13 years of marriage, Ken. And that was our dance, and then as you start looking, you're like, oh my gosh.
You said self-awareness.
Yes.
And that is it's a superpower. And something that I think we should all be craving, because the more self-aware you can become, the easier it is to navigate stuff. It doesn't mean you're not going to mess up and everything, but at least you can go, oh, geez. Like, I would mess up before and be quite confused about it. As opposed to now, it's like, oh.
There it is. Yeah, I know.
And I think that's the key, because then it gets a little bit easier.
Yes, yes.
Fascinating stuff. Thanks for sharing that. I love that. Because we're here and we've been talking about family, I've got to share this with the audience. This is very exciting.
Oh, yes. I'm so happy about this.
This is so fun. I don't know if it was 2 years ago. Let's say it was roughly 2 years ago.
18 months.
We get an email. You, me, a few other of the Ramsey personalities, and a genealogist has reached out to Dave. And Dave loves digging into it. He's done a lot of it.
Sends his DNA off to companies. We don't want that.
We don't want that.
But he is.
So anyway, the story progresses, and Dave says, well, see if this lady, she's volunteered to help out. Well, Dave's done a lot of work, so he thinks, well, this might be something the personalities like. We get the email forwarded to us. I take a flyer on it. Sure, why not? I know my dad's been into it.
Yeah.
And so the lady emails me and says, I got a hunch that you and Dave are related. If you want me to dig into this, give me some family info. I'm like, there's no way. So I fire off an email, give her my family info. I revealed this one day to Rachel here at the office, and this is how it happened. Watch this. I scroll down in the emails. This lady to Patty goes, I'm really interested in Ken Coleman's line because Dave has Coleman in his line. Wouldn't it be hilarious if they're cousins? Have you heard this? No, listen. So she emails back during the show. I'm on with Dave. I open the email and she says, okay, drum roll please. Ken and Dave share a great grandfather. Ken and Dave are 7th cousins.
Daniel Coleman.
Which makes you So, my name's going on the building. Ramsey Coleman Solutions. And I'm quitting. I'm joining Winston in real estate. It's going to be great.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
The new company name will be Coleman Problems, Ramsey Solutions.
Okay, so that was the moment, and
So
it's crazy.
good.
Now, in all disclosure, we assume she's correct. I'm a little cynical about it, but I will.
Questioning the family heritage,
I'm
Ken?
not, but I am saying that if she's right, it might change the dynamic around here. Like first thing I think of is, do we start talking, have a conversation about Ramsey Coleman Solutions? Because Dave's grandfather, Daniel Coleman, his son is Daniel. The irony is...
It's unbelievable, actually.
It's crazy.
We should put, what would Coleman look like under Ramsey?
I don't know. I think that's
Coleman
a bit ambitious.
Solutions.
All right,
Well
now
done.
that we got that out of the way, so...
Long lost friends. Long lost family.
We've known for decades, and the data flips and flops all over the place, but we know that money problems are always right at the top of marriage problems. And we don't need to get in a deep dive on the data, but you wrote a book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, Money Styles. It's a fabulous read. Strip all the data away and you've coached thousands of people on air. You've spoken at marriage conferences. Money and Marriage is a wild hit here. Why do you think money just continues to always be at the top of the list and creating so much tension? What's really going on? What's your take?
Yeah, I always see it. I mean, 99% of the situations when we talk to a married couple, 99, I would say, it is not even a money thing. It's not a money issue. It's a marriage issue. So I think money just happens to be the filter that is so closely related to us and our values and our heart and our fears. Like, it is the thing in life that reveals a lot about us. And so when you're handling something like that in life, then you're exposed in so many ways. And for your spouse not to receive that or to push back on that or to ignore that or not communicate about that or what all the things that we hear from couples, I think it feels like a deep hurt and a deep fear, and it's like goes to the top. It goes
So
to the
money's
top.
like the pressure, and it just hits the right nerve.
Yes.
But it's
I
not
think
the problem.
So. No. Because I think
Interesting.
it's usually kids. Kids are top of the list for like parenting styles, sex, money. It's like these places of vulnerability in our lives that we want control over too.
Yeah.
That we feel like we need a tight grip on. And when our spouse is not aligning with that, or even choosing to listen or participate and hear you out, it just like...
Because there's really major emotional needs, is what I'm hearing you say, underneath the spender and then underneath the saver.
Right. I think those are,
medication, therapy over
That's
here
right,
for the
that's right.
spender.
Yes.
But then there's some fear.
Oh, yeah, for the saver.
saver.
Yes, for sure. But again, it's dealing with those realities and values and tendencies underneath the surface of just the labeling of like, oh, yeah, I'm a spender, or I like to do a budget. He doesn't. Like, there's real repercussions to that and why you are a certain way with money. And when that starts to clash with your spouse,
Yeah.
it's fireworks.
If you were gonna-
we talk to couples on the Ramsey show together.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And it really does amaze me. And I mean, how many couple, they will call and be like, my spouse, my husband, my wife, she won't listen to me. I'll tell her that I'm scared, but like, he won't even acknowledge it. You hear a dynamic and automatically that's a marriage dynamic that you're listening to. It's not because of the money,
Yeah.
So it is. It's usually marriage issues.
Do you think that financial infidelity, where one spouse is withholding information on money, do you think that's far bigger issue than actual infidelity?
Oh, yeah. I think
Yeah.
yes. Because what's funny is we've kind of made it cute of like, I'm going to go to Target. Don't tell the husband. Like there's like funny memes and stuff. And I get that people are lighthearted
Right.
about it. But if you do take that seriously and there starts to become a habit in a way you're thinking or acting, and it starts to become secret of secrets, I mean, that is the death of
Yeah.
intimacy. I mean, it's just
Because once that
worst
comes
thing.
out, it's devastating.
Yes. And people that have had deep financial infidelity, they say it feels like my spouse cheated on me. Like, I feel like they're a different person. They are not who they were presenting themselves to be. And that's a scary place.
I want to
be.
get your unique take on this as a female because of this issue, financial infidelity. So kind of coming at men here a little bit, but this happens across the board. Was on the show, the Ramsey show yesterday with Dave. We took a call. You're not even ready for this. Guy calls and he says, we've been married 5 years and I've had extreme success. My income from the day we got married to where we are today has increased 7x.
Oh, wow.
He's making really good money.
Wow.
And he's never told his wife how much he makes. And he essentially gives her an allowance. And his question to Dave and I was, should I tell my wife how much I'm worth? And of course, you know what we said, yes. But
Sure.
I'm bringing that scenario to you to go, we both told him it's going to be incredibly messy. We did our best to tell him what we would do and how we would do it.
Yeah.
My question to you is, as a female, your husband tells you that or withholds that and you find out, what does that do to your safety and security and trust gland or whatever that is? I'm just curious.
Well, yeah, you feel like incompetent that you don't feel like I could hold that information
Right.
as a person.
It's
Like,
insulting, yeah?
Yeah, insulting. That's a great word. Yeah, but you're like, I don't understand why. And it's interesting. So he's never told her
Never.
that it's been increased or what it was even from the beginning.
From the beginning, just
nothing.
He paid all the bills.
So in my head, for her, I'd be like, what are you doing?
Right.
Do you not want to know? Like, are you not
Yeah.
curious on how your household is being run too.
Right.
So like I want to know if she's asked and he's rejected that, or what the notion is. But it makes you feel like a child, like that I can't hold a level of responsibility with information like that of success. And like it's messy real quick.
Yeah, we told him. We just don't know. We had no idea how she's going to react to that because it is so hurtful on multiple levels.
Yes.
Just devastating.
Yeah.
So 2 couples who have separate finances or maybe they have combined finances, but one's completely checked out and it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Your best advice on relationally how to get down to the table or wherever it is and sit and get on the same page. How do you go about that to try to do the least amount of relationship damage as possible?
Right. It's funny. This is like the one area that I talk about on social media that I get the most hate when I talk about couples combining and being one with their finances. I get more, and there was a girl recently, someone sent me the clip, and she's just trashing me. It's some clip that I had one of our conferences about couples that work together with their money. There's a level of intimacy that's created there that is so beautiful and so real because you work together as a team and you're less likely to get divorced when you're combining finances, And she just ripped. I mean, she's like, they can't leave. The wife can't leave. That's why she's not getting divorced, all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's just, it makes me sad, I think, because, and again, not that Winston and I are perfect. Hopefully I showed that earlier. Like we are a mess in and of ourselves. But there is such a gift when you choose to do life with someone and you choose to get married. You're choosing a partner for your life. And the fact that we start to segment these parts of our lives that I'm not gonna let you as my partner enter into this part of me. You just miss out on so many opportunities of not even just great conversation and enjoyment and excitement of like we have the same goals and we're reaching together, and if you're not together, you don't have that. But also I would say you miss out on the opportunities of growth because the couples that tell me, we just separate finances and we don't fight anymore about it. And that's a better solution. And I'm like, when you avoid a subject to avoid fighting, that's the exact subject that you need to be digging into.
Right.
So the avoiding aspect is going to bleed into other parts of your marriage. And you're going to look up, I promise, in 4, 5, 6 years and be like, I don't really know this person because I'm self-protecting from them. Now, in some cases, if it is a super dysfunctional marriage, and if there is, infidelity or abuse or addiction or things, and you have to protect yourself all day. And we've said that on the show to a few people.
That's right.
Where we're like, you need a separate account. There are times for it.
No question.
But for the run-of-the-mill couple, that's just like, I'm going to just withhold this part of my life and do it on my own. You don't get to your money goals as fast. But more importantly, in my opinion, you don't get the relational equity that you have to build a beautiful life and marriage together with this partner that you've chosen and stood in front of people and said, I choose you, right, to be my spouse. So you just miss out on all of that, all of that. And as we were saying earlier, money reveals so much of us. That's why it's such a hot topic, a sensitive topic with couples. And so you're removing this aspect of your marriage that could create such connection and intimacy and trust and like locking arms together, metaphorically speaking. And you remove that part.
Yeah.
And
I think it's so true. How can you say that you fully trust the person that you've married if you don't have combined finances? And it's not, it feels like there's a protectionism there and it gets rationalized.
100%, yeah.
Why do you think the rage is there to that? When you put that out there and the response is it's rage.
I think it's a lot of fear and a lot of hurt. I think it comes from people that have either seen a situation gone bad, because they do, right? Like there's a risk there.
Right.
There's a risk when you get married, right? Like in my opinion, I'm like, you're risking a lot from an emotional side. I mean, everything, right?
For sure.
So I think it's fear because they've seen it gone sideways, either for themselves, and it's a second marriage, that they're like, nope, not doing that again, which is understandable. Like I hear that. Or seen parents and it go bad. So that or the hurt. I think women specifically feel this need to have their own money, never trust a man. I hear that a lot in my comments. Like I just don't fully trust men, and so
at
I'm
that
going
point
to.
they're feeling like you're criticizing them for being protective of themselves.
Right.
So
and
that's a lash out.
Right. That's right. Yes. And so there's all that dynamic, and I'm like, it's just, and then I've heard some women say things like, well, I had a business and when we got married, I made sure that like he couldn't have any part of it, And again, you're just going back to like segmenting off these parts of you. And I just believe when you go in fully accepting and fully saying, this is all of me, you get every part of me because we're going to do this together. We're getting married. In my head, that's what I think. But again, that's been my experience. I think it's probably easier for me to say those things because people that have had harder stories with it, it does take years of rebuilding trust and trust in themselves too. Dr. John Deloney talks about this a lot. If someone's had infidelity, it's not even that you don't trust your spouse. You don't even trust yourself where you think, what was I? Where was I? So all of that's very real. And I think, take the time to work on it. But again, in my opinion, the ultimate level of like complete integration and doing life completely together is combining every part of your life. Well, again, with my tree metaphor earlier, still being you, right? So you're still going to be a spender and a saver and all those things, but that integration needs to happen at the top.
Okay, I love that you went there because I was going to ask you, if we take the spender and the saver and let's just keep those as the simple, archetypes, if you will. Using your tree analogy, okay, you've got a spender and you have a saver. And we want to make sure they understand why they're spenders and savers. That's the root piece. But now we want them sitting down together. And so one of the things I love about your advice is it's always very relational and very, very practical. I want you to speak to the spender and then speak to the saver. Doesn't matter whether they're man or woman. When they sit down, okay, to come together here as we're challenging them to do so. And I agree, by the way. What is I'm going to let you answer it however you want, but what is the posture in what they may say if they both come to the table? So we got the spender, we got the saver. We haven't combined finances. I think Rachel's right. Let's at least come together, show ourselves, be transparent, vulnerable. Here's all of me. How does the spender, we'll start with the spender. How does the spender come to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would think through your values and desires in life. Is it that you want to be spontaneous? Is it that you want to experience things? It takes money to do that. Is it that you don't want to be confined by a budget or something and feeling like, oh my gosh, if I have to save all the time, like I don't want that. What are the things that you're desiring and valuing? And that's kind of gets a little bit under that surface of understanding, okay, why? Why am I a spender? What is it about it? Is it the freedom? Is it the excitement? Is it the high you get when you spend? Like understanding that why is big. And then I think each of these, so I'm going to say this to the spender too, I think the posture of like deep humility, saying to yourself, this is how I look at life. This is my viewpoint. The lens at which I look through money and experience money, even like in like my heart. Like right when I spend, it feels so good and I love it. Like all of that is mine. But maybe, just maybe, I could learn something and have a healthier balance from the person that's sitting across from me. And I actually may learn something from them. And so I would have that. So I would have a values and desires list of your spending and why and where that comes from for you, so that your spouse knows you and that you're not just this irresponsible spender like us spenders get labeled sometimes.
It's true.
But this is why. This is how I enjoy life, how I see life. But then also, I want to learn from you. So I would say that. For savers, same thing, the value system. But I think for savers, there's a deep safety to the point of control and hoarding that can be very real. And I want to control situations. I want to make sure that if something happens, like I have it under control. And I want to be on top of it all. And there's like this false sense of security that money can provide. It can provide security, right? We talk about having an emergency fund, right? Like if your tire goes flat, you can fix it. But there's an identity thing there as well. And same for the spender, but there's something there that's deeper that gets triggered when you know I have money. Whether it's safety, identity, success, ego, whatever it is. But why is it? Why do you just want to keep piling on more money? What is it really for you? And don't take the cheap way out of like, well, I want to leave a legacy for my kids. Really though, what is it? Like, and maybe that's part of it, but there's something in all of us that has like an unhealthy desire for both ends of that spectrum. So identify that. And then again, think, okay, what can I learn from the spender sitting across the table?
Hey, I want to tell you about my new sponsor, Delete Me. Here's a fact. Your personal data is everywhere on the internet. And I don't just mean your name. I'm talking about things you don't want out there. like your home address, phone number, names of your kids, and a whole lot more. That's all thanks to data broker sites that sell your data. Then it ends up in the hands of online thieves who use it in scams and phishing attacks. And the worst part is, even if you think you've cleaned up your digital footprint, your personal info can pop back up without any warning. That's why I'm proud to recommend Delete Me. They're the industry leader at scrubbing your info from hundreds of data broker sites, and not just once, but continuously. Then they send detailed reports showing what they've removed and from where. And if you have a unique situation, they have specialists ready to help you. Look, this isn't about paranoia. It's about preparation and protection. So don't wait for a phishing scam to catch you off guard. Go to joindeleteme.com/frontrowseat today and use the promo code FRONTROWSEAT for 20% off an annual plan. That comes out to just $9 a month. That's joindeleteme.com/frontrowseat. All right, I want to bring up, which was one of the, in fact, it's a top 5 moment for me on the Ramsey show.
Yes.
And it happened to be with you.
Yes.
And we got a call from a mom, and her question for us was, I bought tickets for me and my 2 daughters to go to Taylor Swift. And you're a very, very, very enthusiastic Swiftie.
Especially then. That was during the Eras Tour. This was at the height of Taylor.
Yeah. And so the lady, so you were already excited. And she posed a question to us. She had found out how much those tickets that she had paid cash for would get her in resale. And she was in her mind going, I can resell these tickets, not go to the concert, and take the profits and put it towards one of my daughter's student loan. I'm mom of the century. Rachel, Ken, what do you think? And this was our reaction. Watch this.
So her student loan debt is $24,000?
Correct.
And that's what you would want to put the money towards?
Absolutely. 100% of it would go to there.
All right. And you initially invested $627.
That is correct.
And the only reason that you can net, let's just call it shy of 10 grand, is because you bought these tickets. Would you be putting $9,000 plus towards her student loan if you hadn't bought these tickets?
I would not.
All right. I'm going somewhere. I think, I don't care what anybody says. I wouldn't resell these tickets.
Okay.
Are
you shocked at his response, Rachel?
Yes, Jill. This is the Holy Spirit moving.
No. Let me tell you
right in
what.
front of your eyes.
Dare I say why? She wouldn't have put that money. Here's the deal, Jill. You weren't planning to cut a check for $9,500 to put on your daughter's student loan, ever.
I was not.
So my whole point is
this
that
is like a windfall, right? If $9,500 fell into my lap, I might do that.
I get it, but this is your daughter's,
Yeah,
and it's a once in a lifetime concert.
Oh, yeah. I
agree.
You go, Jill. Go to the concert.
That was fantastic. Okay.
That was good.
So really fun. My favorite was you were so surprised. Why did you think I was going to Grinch on that one?
I thought you're just more practical.
Yeah.
You're gonna get ahead with your goals.
Yeah.
I just feel like you would lean more in that camp.
Yeah.
Than like go have fun.
I was genuinely surprised that you were surprised because I consider myself.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn from you. I consider myself to be a carpe diem, seize the moment. And I felt like in that particular situation, I had my dad hat on.
Yes.
And I was thinking, that's a memory that to be full disclosure, my oldest son was a senior in high school, and I was already seeing that. And I just think in the moment, I was like, that to me at this stage of my life, the memory is worth more than the money.
Yes.
I show that clip. I bring this up to say, I know you're a fan of a book, popular book, Die with Zero.
Oh, yes.
And on the heels of what we've been talking about, like our styles, the control, and I just think there's being wise with money.
Yeah.
But there's also being present, and none of us is promised tomorrow.
Yes.
Talk to me about that concept. I've not read the book, and so I want to learn from you.
Yeah, it's really good. And the only big issue with the book is not a lot of people can actually put this into practice because it's basically the idea like you have so much at retirement.
Right.
What do you do with it, you know?
Right.
And do you leave your kids a ton of money or do you let them use it when they really need it? So that was the big takeaway for me of that you need money the most. I can't remember his exact age range because he did like all the data on it, but I think it's like 24 to 35. During that time period, you're in your first job, you're trying to get a down payment for a house, you got student loan debt, like you probably need to replace a car. Like money is needed the most and it's when you have the least amount.
Right.
And then if you fast forward and you're 60 and your parents are 80 and they die and leave you this massive inheritance, you're 60. You're like, well, I'm good. I don't need it.
Right.
This would have been nice, 40 years ago that I could have used it to advance my life so that I could put my income later on in life to do something else. So that idea I just loved because we do talk about, a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So I'm not suggesting people try to die with zero and literally spend and give everything till they die. But I like the mindset and the challenge of what comes up in that for me of, we can have these goals. And it's so funny being like someone that teaches about money all the time because I've found my icks. Have you heard this word? This is like a Gen Z term, ick. Like people like when they're dating, like it's my ick. Like that's my ick.
Oh, this is very exciting. I can take this home with me.
I think my money ick is having a number, especially $1 million, and that being someone's goal. Like my goal is to have $1 million.
Right.
My goal is to have X amount of money. Because the problem is you can sacrifice so much of the moment in that time to get to this goal that's so arbitrary. Like it's great,
No,
right?
I'm with you. That's why I actually brought up the silly clip. It wasn't silly. I thought, and I haven't read the book, so I wondered if conceptually we both gave the advice maybe for different reasons.
Yes, yes.
But I will tell you that my reason was, what good is a paid off student loan
Right.
if 5 years from now, God forbid, one of them's not around?
Yeah.
And you didn't go to this concert.
Yes.
And it's Taylor Swift. And yes, it's one night. And yes, the ticket prices are absurd. All of that is true.
Yes.
However,
But it's the principle of
it's the relativity of she had the money.
Yes.
She had two girls who loved Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And it was about the specialness of that night.
Totally, yes.
That's the stuff I think we talk about on our deathbed if we all get that romantic, and we won't.
No, but seriously, it's all stripped away at that point, right? To your point. When you're done, you're like, what was I doing? Was I working my entire life to get this massive
to get
funds?
$1 million versus
and now
actually,
we're done. And you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I do think too, balancing out, this is where the book, I would say I would have a little bit more balance of, because he does talk about debt and that kind of thing. So I'm like, there is an offshoot that if you aren't wise with the foundational principles and you're going into debt for these things, you don't have savings, you're just living paycheck to paycheck to seize the moment, you're going to have a level of stress and anxiety in your life. And that's not a trade-off to me. Let's pad that. Let's be wise with it.
Let's be able to finish well.
Yes. And then on top of that, though, is what we're talking about. It's that a couple of steps beyond the basics. And how do you want to live your life? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Arthur Brooks talks about the 5 things you can do with money. And one of them does not bring happiness, 4 will. And he talks about giving, which I love because it does. It will bring happiness. He says saving will actually bring you happiness because it's showing progress. Buying your time back and using your time wisely. And then he said this, and I wanted just to hug him. He said, when you buy experiences with the people that you love.
I agree.
And he said, it's not just Disney World for Disney World.
I agree.
But it's when you are with your kids and you're walking down Main Street and they will never again be 4 and 6 years old.
100%.
Scared to go on the ride. They want to hold your hand. You know what I mean? What things create in us.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be as big as Disney. I mean, this is a challenge even on day-to-day life. What are experiences and moments I'm having with my own kids? But money's a tool to allow you to do some fun things like that. So enjoy it. Live a full life. And round it out with the other things, with giving and all that.
That's where I'm at. I mean, candidly, I do the Ramsey thing, and so I've got my retirement fund, and my advisor said, you're going to be fine in old age.
Right.
And I could save more. I want to save more. Good grief. I got more cars than, because I got 3 kids.
All your kids and colleges.
Yeah,
and
in college. And I'm at the most
expensive
expensive season of my life.
Yes.
All right. But here's what I now know. And I'm first time around. We'll pick up our oldest from freshman year of college this week.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's
It
been
goes so fast.
So fast.
And so I realized that in a 4 to 6 year period, Rachel, I'm going to be, the kids are largely off the payroll.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have plenty of margin.
Yeah.
But now they may not be as available to do the things. And I have seen myself go, I like having that buffer. I love having all this extra savings and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? We got to make memories. And so we're going, the whole family, to football games and spending more than I probably would like to spend.
Right.
But when you have those memories, to me, that's the ROI on my money that I'd rather have. I just don't want, and again, I want to provide for my kids, but if we never do anything and they know dad is this uptight, cheap, whatever, saving, and then I die, and they all get a fat check.
That's right.
How nice is that?
I know.
It feels empty.
Yep. It's almost, I heard this the other day and I was like, whew, that's good. The guy was saying he's a billionaire and who's being interviewed. And he said, it's easy to find successful people with money. You can make money today.
Right.
It's hard to find people that have grown kids that want a relationship with them.
Yes. So
that
true.
desire to be with them. To me, that's a rich life.
100%.
Right? And when I heard that, I was like, that is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I talk a lot about bringing your best to work, but it's hard to bring your best when you're dragging through the day because you didn't sleep well. And for a lot of people, it's not just because of the mattress, it's because of what's in the mattress. Most beds are full of junk like polyurethane foam, synthetic fibers, and chemical flame retardants. And that stuff might save you a few bucks, but it also traps heat and releases toxins into the air in your home. That's not good. And that is one of the many reasons why I love my Avocado Green mattress. These are made with certified organic materials, no chemical junk, no petroleum-based foam, just natural latex, wool, and cotton that help me sleep cooler, deeper, and healthier. And you're not sacrificing comfort either because Avocado's mattresses are supportive and very comfortable. You can even take a quick quiz on their site to find the right fit for your sleep style, firm, medium, or plush. So don't settle. Upgrade your sleep and upgrade your health. Head to avocadogreenmattress.com/Ken today and get $50 off with the code KEN50. That's avocadogreenmattress.com/Ken and use the code KEN50. Avocado, dream of better.
You and I do work where we have a little bit of notoriety, and I mean, I stress little and notoriety.
Yeah.
We're under no illusions. But this haunted me the other day. I was playing poker with a bunch of guys, and we have a mutual friend, Bill, who's just an oddball.
Oh, yeah.
And, we're all sitting around, not in the hand, there's two guys playing. He goes, hey, who can name 5 celebrities that died in the last year? And speed the whole story up to say that it took a table full of guys 10 to 15 minutes to name 5 well-known people that had died in the last year. I mean, I'm talking like massive names to where when somebody said the name, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh,
I forgot."
How do you forget this person?"
Right.
And you made me think of that when you said, if you don't have anything at the end where the people who actually are going to remember you are around, what have you done?
100%.
Because I promise you, people are going to forget about me in about a nanosecond. A nanosecond.
We'll remember you.
No, I don't even get a full second.
I know what you mean. I know.
Like, in the grand scheme of things.
And it's over.
15 minutes, 8 guys at a poker table
wild?
to come up with 5.
Yeah, Jim Carrey, he has such a great quote. I've left all his stuff recently.
Oh, he's got some depth.
He is so good, but he said, I wished every person could have all the money and all the fame in the world so they can realize that it's not the answer.
Yeah.
So to the point, the notoriety and fame and the money side, there's so much more akin to it. It's just so much more to life. And we become obsessive about it,
Yeah.
Obsessive about it.
Yeah.
And there's a freedom. And that's where money's interesting because it can become an idol in a consumption way with consumerism. And it's an idol because I just want this bag or I want this car or I want this, lifestyle that I look a certain way. And we kind of point at those people and we're like, it's an idol. But it can be an idol on the other end of the spectrum where it has you in such bondage that you don't have the freedom to experience the peace and the choices and the things you get to do with money after you've built it. And that's what happens. It ends up becoming golden handcuffs for people because they are scared to death once they get money not to spend it or not to do anything with it because they're just scared, whether it's the safety element, a control element, whatever it is. But the money is an idol, and Scripture talks a lot, so much caution around wealth and money, which is so good. Like it's a great place to meditate and to remember. But that, I think it's true on both spectrums.
I want to ask you about being a working mom because you have a great perspective. This is another topic that in the past when I've talked about stay-at-home moms, we're talking about viral. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of, it's crazy the comments on it.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's this.
What did you say in it? Do you remember?
It was a stay-at-home mom called in and she said, I feel guilty because I'm not making enough money.
Yes.
I'm not making any money.
Yep.
My husband's paying off debt, but I'm home for this. And she gave great reasons. And we both just loved on her and said, look, that role is the greatest role in the world. It is very much a job.
Oh, gosh.
And all I did was validate her and say, you will never regret doing this in this season. And so you guys have to figure out what enough is.
Yep.
And you can still get out of debt. You're not going to get out of debt as fast, sure.
Yep.
But there's so much more ROI on you being at home. Anyway, we posted it. It goes viral. Then the social media team comes to me and says, hey, do one for working moms because there are a lot of working moms in the comments going, not all of us can do that. And there's that side, right? And it's kind of like this. We're like, hey, everybody's cool.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, and so then I did a post on working moms. Hey, and I said my wife was a working mom for a good season, long season. My mom was a working mom.
Yeah.
And I did that. That went crazy.
Yeah.
And then the comments were like, well, there's this guilt on all of us that aren't working moms.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Right.
Why?
I mean, there has to be a level of just this nurturing level that moms have, right? We created these babies inside of us. Like there's something, and we want to be enough. We want to make sure that they're taken care of in the best possible way. And if that means that I have to be working to earn a living in order for that to happen, or I want to be there and hold their hand and nurture them from home. And women have this like, I don't know what it is. It's always a competition. And guys, I guess, have a level of competition. But with this specifically, and this is
with us, it's usually stupid yard stunts or some type of recreational sports.
We're like, here's all the stuff.
Watch this, what I can do with this beer can off my head.
Look at
it's
this.
usually that.
Right.
Not valuable stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know where it stems from. And I think there's always a level when, or at least for me, when I have a big reaction to someone, it's usually because there's a part of me I see in them that I don't like. And so I wonder on both ends, it's kind of the grass is always greener. Tomorrow is a field trip with Amelia and I'm not able to go because I have recordings tomorrow and all of it. And I'm going to her end of the year picnic, but I can't go to this and I have to pick and choose. And would I want to be present all the time? Yes. So when I see stay-at-home moms, I'm like, man, what a gift that you're giving your kids. And then I have to, am I okay? Like, am I giving my kids, if I'm missing things, are they going to be okay? And then, that's from the working mom perspective. And then vice versa. I think stay-at-home moms, the days I am home, because I work in the office here or there. My schedule looks different every single week. But on days that I am home with them, especially if it's like, a day they're home from school and they're all there, especially when they were little. It's getting less and less of this. But it is, I look at the clock. I remember looking at the clock and it would be 10:30, Ken, and I'd think, I thought it was 2 p.m.
Right.
How is it only 10:30? Right when they were, I was like, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? Like, it is a sacrifice. Like when you talk about selflessness and you are just giving and giving, like you're making lunch, you're making meals and you're cleaning, and then the messes and you're cleaning and you're playing and it's just a lot. And probably all parents feel that to a degree. But I think for a mom, there's just that natural instinct that you just like want herd your little people, and you just want them right there. And make sure that
you've
they're
actually
doing okay.
nailed it. I think you've done such a great job of laying out where that tension lies. If you're the working mom and you see all the stuff about a stay-at-home mom, you resent that you don't get to do that.
Right.
Or maybe how you're being judged, and then vice versa is true. It's interesting that you said when you miss Amelia's field trip, and you kind of have that, I wish I could be there and all that, and am I giving them my time? What do you think as a professional mom that you're giving to your 3 kids? with what you've done to this day, if you were to never work another day, you walk out of here today
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I'm out. What do you think you will have given your 3 kids in your body of work?
I hope that I'm giving them an example of identifying and knowing yourself and your gifts and being able to do something to help people with those gifts. And that can look a lot of different ways for people. But I think early on, that's one thing Mom and Dad did so well. And Dad was so good at this. Dad's such, we laugh with him because he can be kind of cranky Dave, Uncle Dave on the on the show sometimes.
Kind of.
And we're like, come on. But then on the flip side, he's one of the most encouraging people in my life. Like he very much has always spoken truth over me. And it's always been encouraging. Like even when I was younger and speaking, like we were talking about at the beginning of this interview, he never critiqued me. Other people would come in and be like, okay, you can slow down, But he never coached me up or, he just always would hug me and just be like, you did a fantastic job. Like, I see the way you communicate. I mean, the things he said over me, especially as a teenager, like there's something in that that's so beautiful that we're all created. I mean, this is what you used to talk about all the time, but we're all created to give purpose to this world.
Yeah.
And when you can find what you're good at, and it may be sitting one-on-one with people, and you're like a really gifted listener that remembers and makes people feel known. Maybe you're a public speaker, like whatever that gifting is. And if you can channel that to serve and help people, you have a really fulfilling life ahead of you. So I hope that that's what my kids see when I come to work. I'm using the things that God has given me, the gifts and passions, and I'm able to do something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I have so much fun. Like the fact this is work right now, I'm like, what?
Right, I know.
Like so fun.
Yeah.
And that I feel like confident and good in it,
Yeah.
and then the result is that what we get to do is help people navigate their lives and their money. Like it's just the bonus of it all. And I want them to find that for their lives. Again, I think you can do that as a stay-at-home mom. Like
No question.
But identify those gifts and know who you are. And your passions may change throughout your life, but there's something beautiful there because it just gives you value,
I
that you're not
agree.
just kind of like flopping through life.
Yeah, no, I love that. Dave and Sharon, I've said this to you before, Daniel, Denise, your siblings, you guys kind of rode the wave, Denise older, you're the middle child, and comes Daniel, and you grew up with great wealth, and yet you guys don't act like it. And to me, that's the greatest testament to Dave and Sharon that anybody will say about them at their funeral would be the kind of humans they raised. They did a phenomenal job based on what you saw your mom and dad do with you and your siblings, and now you and Winston doing your own thing, your own way. I think one of the things I want parents to hear from you is how do we raise kids, or what are you doing to attempt to raise kids, because you're early in the journey, that aren't entitled, that can grow up with blessing, and blessing's relative here, but not be entitled.
Yeah, gosh.
Because you guys are
there's
grateful people.
What?
You and your siblings are grateful. There's a gratitude about you.
Yeah,
And there's not a sense of entitlement.
that's very kind. I hope that's true all the time. Who knows?
No, it's absolutely true.
From a tactical side, Ken, like this sounds so simple, but I do think it creates something, especially when you're younger and you is the work aspect. Like we worked as kids, whether it was yard work, cleaning off the porch and having to pressure wash furniture outside, to come into the office, and we had to work in the shipping department in the summers. When you had conferences, we had to come. We were expected to work the back book tables. Like work was a part of the rhythm of our life. And, you can get into the nuance of like you pay for chores and then your kids can learn how to handle money. Like all that's great, but that's the side benefit. I think there's an initial dignity that's created when you do something that you may not want to do, but you do it and you see a positive result. And when you can affirm that over and over and over, it sets you up for adulthood well. And Winston and I talk about this a lot because we're going to have to manufacture grit in our house. Because I'll be honest, like mom and dad didn't have a yard service growing up. My mom didn't have a house cleaner. Like they didn't. They did it. They did it all. We did it all. And we're the opposite, Ken. Like we have started to outsource these
my boys
things.
have not. Only one of my boys has cut the lawn.
Yeah, right. I know.
And that was for about 2 months.
That's right. Yes. So what does it look like to manufacture grit? And I think, you can do it in many different ways. And Winston and I are starting to like really seriously talk about that because we have a 10-year-old. And they do chores around the house. They empty dishwashers to clean up after themselves. But really, like, what does that look like, especially as that preteen, teenage years come? So there's something there of like, we're going to have to manufacture it because it's not going to just probably appear in our house unless we cut the lawn service, which maybe we will. I don't know. So that's big. So that's an element of it. But you said grateful, and thank you for saying that word, because I do think that is an important part. Like there's something about this humility aspect, and again, not that I'm perfect at it, but it's that the world's not centered around me. Like there's something about, like, it's not all about me. And I think our kids are going to have a harder time in this generation with that message because of the way social media is. I mean, you think about even our phones, like there's a selfie camera, right? That you can take pictures of yourself, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, there's such this like mentality that's probably always been there. I think it's just magnified in today's world. And there's something that and mom and dad would say to us all the time, the center of the world, the axis of the world does not run through the top of your head.
Yes.
So you're going to have to come to this dinner because we can't get a babysitter tonight, and it's not about you. So be quiet and eat your dinner, and the adults are like, you know what I mean? There's a level of that element of like, it's not all about me. And so I want my kids to know that they're special, they're wonderful, but you live a more joyous, rich life internally when you live a life of service and knowing like, this isn't all about me all the time. I'm going to do my own work and become a healthy person. Like there's a level of that that's beautiful and wonderful.
Yeah.
We've talked about that, but I don't know. There's something about that, like, I want to see other people. I want to see people, you know?
Yeah,
Not be so
that.
Isolated in myself.
No, I love that. The whole point of this show is about wonder.
It's good.
And this is a great place for me to say, hey, we designed these conversations to allow you to learn alongside of me. And I hope you're learning and taking away things. And one of the things I do in every show is take away something from my guest that I need to work on. And Rachel, I wrote it down. It was like a lightning bolt. I've got to change my view of money to enough versus a lot. I think I, like many people in the globe, certainly Americans, have focused on making a lot of money that would then allow me to do this, maybe feel this way. And one of the things that I realized in our conversation today is that I've got to get my perspective to what is enough. What is enough to give, to save, to make memories, to leave an inheritance. So I'm going to challenge you to start thinking about your money goals with what is enough versus what is a lot. And I love what you said about $1 million being ick. And I think we need to come up with a new figure. What is enough? I think that's the challenge for you over the days ahead. Hey, if you enjoyed the conversation, I would love for you to let us know by liking and subscribing. Also, if you'd like to join us from time to time, we have a live audience. Check out the link in the show notes for up-to-date info on guests, dates, and opportunities. Rachel, this is so fun. Thanks for hanging out with me. This is an easy 5-hour conversation.
I know.
We smashed.
You keep going.
So good. I'm better for it. I know our audience is too.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for having me.
So fun.